Hey, this is Alan Curtis Meisner, otherwise known as the Dragonmancer. And, of course, as ever with me are my lovely assistants, the tortoise, the mouse, and the eagle. Now, as you can see, I have, yes, this is a little effigy of Santa Claus, or I guess you could say a kind of a cookie box that I received a couple years ago as a result of a white elephant gift. That is the subject of my presentation today. I do so while recognizing that I am a number of weeks early for Christmas. But and when you really think about it, this is often the very common image that we have of Santa Claus. A man in a white beard who dresses up in a red suit. It's just like the description that was given many years ago in a poem that is still read to this day. Yeah. That he had a stomach, rosy cheeks, his eyes so merry, and a belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. I acknowledge that I got some of the lines mixed up there for a second. To this day, it is the annual debate of the existence of Santa Claus. There are many who say there is no Santa Claus. But when you really think about it, there once was a time when there was a real Santa Claus who was known as Saint Nicholas. He was not officially canonized by the Catholic Church, but nevertheless, many people did consider him a saint and still do. The reality is that in and around Asia Minor, around the country of modern-day Turkey, there was a bishop who lived during the last days of the Roman Empire, who was known as Nicholas. And one particular story that took place was that there was a man who had three lovely daughters, really beautiful daughters, and he was down in his luck financially. And what happened was that he almost sold all three of his daughters into prostitution. Bishop Nicholas, having learned of this, decided that he would draw from his own bank account, because his parents were fabulously wealthy, had a tremendous amount of wealth, but he chose to follow a path into the priesthood. But he was able to inherit the monetary gains, and so he was able to help out this individual. The first night, he takes a bag and throws it into the window. And it is said in some cases that it fell into the stockings that were hung by the chimney to dry. Hence the opening statement, the stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. Well, sure enough, that was the case here. And so now, the next morning, the man is looking at this surprising luck that he had. And so, for his first daughter, he was able to give a substantial dowry. Second night happens again. Again, the next morning, the man is again surprised by his luck, but this time he's curious about who his mysterious benefactor is. And so, what happens next is that the man of the house lies in wait while Santa Claus tosses a third bag in the window. As by this time he'd already long since went ahead and given the dowry over to the second wedding. But on this third night, the man of the house lay in wait, and he was surprised to discover that here was his bishop, who was his benefactor. Years later, some French nuns, having read the account, would decide to do the same thing. They would place candies and money into the stockings that were hung by the chimney. Without even trying, a tradition was born. That, of course, inspired the poem. But then going back to the days when St. Nicholas was a living being, he was involved in the Nicene Creed. They were debating about the divinity of Jesus Christ. St. Nicholas believed absolutely that yes, Jesus Christ was divine. Another said that he wasn't, and so in response, St. Nicholas went over to the individual and slapped him. But in either case, the debate went on. And so, but in due time, people came to realize that indeed Jesus Christ was divine. To be sure, St. Nicholas believed it. Now again, as I mentioned in the beginning of my presentation, there are those who declare there is no Santa Claus, and oftentimes the most common story they give is that there was a certain toy that they wanted that they never received. And that, they say, is the day that they cease to believe in Santa Claus. When you really think about it, I often think of the opening line of a song that was written years ago for a presentation known as A Year Without a Santa Claus, in which Santa Claus was concerned about whether or not there were individuals, and he was asked this. And he opened up with his song. I'm not going to sing it, but I will quote the opening line. I believe in Santa Claus as I believe in love. And that's how I believed him. At one time, there was a real Santa Claus centuries ago. And in a way, there still is a Santa Claus. He is within all of us. Yes, all of us can be like Santa Claus and be able to have the giving spirit that he had. Yes, I believe in Santa Claus as I believe in love. And that is the message that I have today. Have a nice night.